All right, so the Bible establishes the case that Yahweh is the creator of everything, and that in his creating, he has created not only animals and humans, but he has created other beings that are not of this world, that also have names and personalities, and that at some level, everything he creates has a kind of freedom to it. Plants expand and go where they can go, and things develop, and humans, we become what we want to be, and the same thing for the rulers of the spirit world. Well, by the time we get to the New Testament, Jesus is able to say there is one of the Elohim that he calls the ruler of this world, and he's not talking about God. Satan is a name we come to apply to him, which it's the name of a job. In the Old Testament, by the New Testament, it's become a personal name. So Satan is in charge of, has authority over, has influence and lockdown power over every tribe of humans. Because in the Bible, the word tribe is the same word for nation. It's the same word for Gentile. So the tribes, it means you're not of Israel, you're not of Abraham's descendants, you are one of the nations of the world, and you are under the power of demonic, what we would now call demonic forces, dark forces of fallen Elohim. So how did this ever happen? And there's not a completely straightforward answer in the Bible, but I have a working theory. And I think it's a biblical theory. And it requires you to visit 3 different places in the Bible. And a lot of the most interesting lessons of the Bible are what we might call decentralized, where you have a teaching or an idea, but it develops gradually over centuries. And then when you pull the pieces together, you have it's like a jigsaw puzzle. But it isn't all told at once. There's other places in the Bible where something is covered one time and it's like said. But there are a lot of times that it's not exactly like that. Okay, so here's me building my case. And again, this is my working theory because I'm not satisfied with the idea that when Adam and Eve fell, suddenly Satan had the keys to the whole planet. It doesn't say that in the narrative. It doesn't even imply that in the narrative. At the end of that story, Adam and Eve are still in charge of the world, but now they've cursed the earth. It isn't that Adam and Eve are cursed. The earth is cursed because of them. Things have changed. And right away you start to see humans murdering humans. And God calls that power sin. And he says sin wants you. Like sin thinks. Sin desires. He tells Cain, sin wants you. It's in your house already. It's crouching. It's couching at the door. And it's waiting to get you. You have to resist it. So there's this new power that comes in. By Genesis 11, we've already been through the global reset of the flood when evil went everywhere among humans and God had one decent human left and he just kills everything and says, I'm starting over. By the time you get to Genesis 11, it's back. Humans are coming together. We're one people and we're coming together to resist God. We're using our intelligence, we're using our communication abilities, and the whole planet has a monoculture and mono-language, and humans are very much unified, but unified for all the wrong reasons. They are resisting the heart and will of the God that made the world, and that means they're already under, they're headed down the path of sin. And so at this point in Genesis 11, God decides for the sake of safety to divide humans up. They won't be one people anymore. They won't be one culture. And the beginning of culture is language. So he creates multiple languages by scrambling, that's the Hebrew word, mixing up, scrambling their language. And in scrambling, they come to speak a different tongue. And they wander off with everyone who speaks that same tongue. And they go find new places all over the world to live. So that's how it begins. That's the first Bible stop is Genesis 11, when God divides the world into tribes, tribe, nation, Gentiles. Israel is not included in the list. The list is in Genesis 10 and partially Genesis 11 of 70 nations. 70 means wholeness in the Bible. And the Jews are not a part of it. They are made, it's a single man, later comes to be Abraham, and God chooses one man and makes a nation out of him. He is the Elohim of that nation, and they are his possession, and he works forcefully with free will beings in this family to bring them to be the family of God.